Good afternoon, everybody. As you can see, I've isolated myself in the Embra bar. It's 1700 hours, Friday afternoon, and I should be having a beer with my mates, waiting for happy hour. But unfortunately, that's not to be. Before I get into the detail this afternoon, I'd like just to take a moment to thank our General Manager, Craig Evans. He's been keeping us informed pretty much on a daily basis of all the events as they unfold with the coronavirus and how it's going to affect our club and our daily life. Thank you, Craig. You've done a fantastic job of keeping us informed. Last night, our board met to provide some direction for the evolving situation. I'd like to share with you some of the detail that was discussed last night and some direction that we think we should take. Based on government advice to date, current restrictions are likely to not be lifted before the end of July, and much time may increase beyond July. We will review the situation regularly. However, it is unlikely that normal operations of the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club will resume for anything under 6 months, and more likely it could be longer. There will be some ramp up required whenever the restrictions are lifted, and we are preparing for the worst, but as always, hopeful of the best, and appreciate the support that all the members during this very, very difficult time. It's about this time each year, under normal circumstances, that you would expect to receive a letter from the club, from the General Manager, setting out information to convene a general meeting, an EGM, to discuss an increase in subs for the coming new financial club year. This year, of course, that commences on the 1st of May. And of course, this year, this meeting will not be possible. And the board has taken a position to set some guidelines as the way to move forward. And I'd like to discuss those with you this afternoon. I'm just going to read these so I get them correct. So the first thing is about our members' subs. All of our subs this year, or the coming year, starting May the 1st, will remain the same as the year we're in, the current year. So there'll be no increase in subs. Secondly, all subs now can be paid on a monthly basis, bearing in mind that if you pay instalments, you do commit for the full year. House entitlements have been suspended for a period of 6 months, and any remaining house entitlements from this year will be transferred into the next year. Youth Competition Support Fund, the YCSF, is now voluntary, and if you're unable to pay, then you don't need to. But if you can, it would be very much appreciated. But if you can't, we understand. And those of you who may have a few dollars may care to pay a little bit more. I'm sure the kids will appreciate it. Item 5, for every month that the club is closed, you'll receive a 50% rebate on your club fees, credited to your club account to use on any club facilities, be it the marina, the boatyard, the F&B when it opens during the year. This refund will commence from May the 1st and continue through to the 31st of July. The refund will be reviewed every 3 months based on the evolving pandemic situation and any government regulations that may change. Another important aspect that the board discussed last night regarding the club was our staff. We cherish our staff and we intend to look after them as well as we can. The club employs up to 55 casual workers. They generally work in the food and beverage, the waterfront and the boatyard business. Most of these casual staff have now been laid off under the provisions of the government stand down. Secondly, the club employs 30 full-time staff to run our club business. Given the decline in activity and income, we will need, unfortunately, to stand down some of this staff, and will decrease our wages cost of full-time staff by 1/3. It is our intention to look after these staff to the best of our ability. We hope that we will be eligible for the JobKeeper provisions, which allow us to keep the team together in readiness for when we reopen this great club. The board is also considering bringing forward some of the projects we've had in mind. This to keep some of these employees busy during this time. Some of the staff may also be deployed in work that has previously been carried out by contractors. So we're looking forward to looking after our staff. They're very precious. We've also discussed the operations. Now, we've had word on this before, but I'll just outline where we stand currently. The club's operations are subject, of course, to a close down provisions of the federal and state legislations which are currently in force. The waterfront remains open with full access to all of your boats. We note, however, that the BIA recommendations for sailing are changing daily, and that you should really visit the RMS site to understand what the current information in terms of using your boat on the water. The current marina and boat storage fees will remain unchanged for the foreseeable future. The tender service is now restricted to one person or one family group for any one trip. It is our intention to keep the boatyard open as long as possible. At this stage, the boatyard business remains open for April and May in full operation. The board will examine the position at the end of April and advise further. Our concessionaires, our tenants, they remain open, and we would ask you that you provide them with your full support and as much work as you can. Our grab and go F&B takeaway will be operating until the end of April, at which time the board will review whether it is appropriate to keep it going any longer. As I said earlier, the clubhouse remains closed for the foreseeable future. Our club has a proud 150-year history. It's been through 2 world wars, a swine fever, a depression, various market crashes like the GFC. The board and the management are doing everything possible and are very confident that the club will survive this current pandemic as well. The club is in a very reasonable financial position due to the great management of our previous boards. This is a time for our members to rally and look after other members and look after the wider community at large. Please check on your club mates, sailing mates. Send them a note. Tell them what you are doing so that it can be shared and looked out for lots of online activities that people are creating. I note that this weekend we have our first virtual yacht race, thanks to Nick Elliott organising from our sailing office. Please go to your e-notes. I think they came out on Wednesday morning, and you'll see how to connect up. A big spinnaker race tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. In closing, I would like to mention what we've been up to in the Cork. On Wednesday night we met, as we always do at the start of the month, and we will continue to meet throughout this crisis. Julia Hornsby, our Rear Commodore of Activities, is redesigning her whole program for online activities, and if you have any ideas, it would be very much appreciated to send them along. I note that all the committees will also continue to meet and make sure that we are in readiness for when we get to reopen this club. It's going to be some sort of party. Please support the club by renewing your membership at the start of May. Please make sure you pay your subs as soon as possible, as there's a problem. If there's a problem, you feel there's a problem, please contact our accounts department or our membership representative or your membership representative. It is most important that we keep the club in a pristine order, so when it's ready to go, we can return and get on with the fun we've always had at the Royal Prince Alfred. I'd like to thank my other board members for their support, and in particular Ron Palmer for his huge input in reorganising our budget in very quick time. I also thank James Major for his fantastic leadership through the many meetings that we've had organising our club. I've previously thanked Craig, and I'd like to just mention him again. He has been working 24/7 for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and Craig, your work is very much appreciated. The ladies in the office, all of the staff have been putting in a huge effort. I know Pan Stevens worked all weekend to reorganise our new budget, and for that we thank them very much. Please take care of yourself, your members and your community. Stay isolated and stay safe. Thank you very much.